Imagine walking into a room that breathes, not just because a window is open, but because life is woven into every corner. Too often, we treat our apartments as static boxes where plants are an afterthought, a lonely pot on a sill. I want to reframe that entirely. Today, we're not just watering a fiddle-leaf fig. We're curating a living sanctuary where architecture and nature gently collide. This is Apartment Gardening 101, viewed through the lens of design. We'll move beyond basic care tags and explore how to choreograph light, shape, and volume, transforming even the tiniest rental into a lush, serene retreat. It's about creating a dialogue between your interior architecture and the wild, sculptural beauty of plants. Mapping the microclimates. Before you buy a single leaf, become a student of your own floor plan. Architects don't place a staircase without studying flow, and you shouldn't place a monstera without studying the sun. Your apartment is a patchwork of microclimates, and I want you to take a day just to watch the light dance across your walls. Notice how a beam of morning sun hits the corner of your sofa, or how a sliver of afternoon light stripes your kitchen backsplash. That soft, indirect glow near a north-facing window is a cathedral for ferns and peace lilies. It's delicate light that won't scorch their paper-thin leaves. Conversely, that brutal, blazing sill in your living room is a stage for sculptural cacti or a towering bird of paradise that craves desert energy. Matching the drama of the light to the architecture of the plant is the most elegant thing you can do. Don't forget the air. That pretty spot by the hallway might be a visual dead end, but is it a stagnant air pocket? Placing a delicate calathea, there might be a silent death sentence. Use a sheer curtain not just for privacy, but as a diffuser, a soft filter that turns harsh rays into a gentle, luminous wash. You are conditioning the space for life. Plant sus. Architectural sculptures. Now, let's choose our living sculptures. I want you to stop seeing a plant as a decor item and start seeing it as a volume, a mass, a vertical line, or a cascading drape. This is where interior design and gardening truly merge. A tight corner that feels jarring and sharp can be instantly softened by a vertical snake plant. Its rigid, upward strokes draw the eye skyward, making your ceiling feel taller and acting as a breathing architectural column. For that empty space above a bookshelf, gravity becomes your design tool. Introduce a cascading plant like a string of pearls or a rhipsalis. It weeps over the edge, dissolving the hard horizontal line and creating a sense of soft, mature luxury. If you have a large bare wall and no floor space, the solution isn't a chaotic cluster of small pots. It's a single, dramatic architectural specimen, like a ficus elastica, with dark, rubbery leaves that command negative space like a sculpture in a gallery. I also love the idea of using a tall, airy plant like a dracaena as a visual room divider. In a studio apartment, placing a lightweight, textural screen of foliage between your sofa and bed defines a psychological boundary. You're zoning a room without building a wall, filtering light and stealing a sense of privacy with nothing but leaves. Elevating with the vertical dimension. Floor space is a luxury, but wall space is an endless frontier. When we design interiors, we often forget the vertical plane is a garden waiting to happen. This is the secret weapon for anyone in a tiny apartment. Think modular wall-mounted planters or sleek brass hooks holding trailing vines, creating a living tapestry that climbs toward the ceiling. A tension rod plant pole is a renter-friendly dream I adore. Tuck it floor to ceiling in a bathroom corner and hang moisture-loving ferns and lipstick plants. It exploits unused vertical volume, turning a dead corner into a misty, tropical column. For the kitchen, a magnetic wall grid with small pots of herbs is a functional, architectural installation. It stitches your culinary life and your green life into one single, rhythmic gesture. Please, go beyond the basic shelf. Stagger your heights. Use a vintage brass standing lamp to suspend a lightweight pot, creating a floating, ethereal leaf. The goal is to draw the eye upward in layers. A low stool with a bushy anthurium, a mid-century chair with a trailing ivy on the arm, and a hanging pothos overhead builds a ladder of foliage that makes the room feel infinitely deeper and more orchestrated. The container ass furniture. Let's talk about what the plants actually live in. In a small space, a pot isn't just a pot. It's a piece of furniture taking up precious visual real estate. A mismatched collection of plastic nursery pots screams clutter, whereas a curated set of vessels in a cohesive material palette whispers intentionality. You don't need to spend a fortune, you just need a consistent language, like warm terracotta, matte ceramic, or aged brass. Integrate your plants into your furniture layout. A deep windowsill can be extended with a custom-cut slab of oak or stone, creating a unified bench that merges seating and plant staging. I love the idea of a side table that actually is a hollow ceramic cylinder, acting as a plinth for a graceful fern. The function remains, a place to rest a coffee cup, but the aesthetic presence is purely organic. Choose pots with clean, simple lines that defer to the plant's silhouette. A fluted clay pot amplifies the upright nature of a succulent, while a softly curved, footed bowl elevates a low-growing pilea. The pot should feel like a pedestal, a frame that grounds the wildness of the foliage without competing. It's the subtle dialogue between the neat, man-made base and the unruly, organic top that feels so elegantly modern. Composition and rhythm of care. Styling a plant collection is like composing a photograph. You need a focal point, supporting players, and breathing room. Avoid the temptation to line up 10 little pots in a neat row. That's a display, not a composition. Instead, create a vignette where a tall, dramatic plant sits beside a low, mounding one, with a tumbling plant breaking the edge of the shelf. This negative space, the empty air around the leaves, is crucial. It allows each specimen's silhouette to be appreciated and prevents that chaotic, jungle gym look. The rhythm of care is the unseen architecture of gardening. Sink your finger into the soil. It's a more intimate, accurate tool than a moisture meter. Learn the weight of a just watered pot versus a dry one. The heft in your hand becomes a silent, tactile signal. Group plants with similar needs together on a pebble tray. This isn't just a humidity hack. It's an echo of a natural landscape microclimate. Watching the leaves soften in the damp air brings a quiet, meditative texture to your morning routine. Dust the leaves gently, not just for photosynthesis, but as a ritual of noticing. Running your fingers over a glossy leaf connects you to your home's pulse. A space that breathes. Gardening in a small apartment is ultimately an act of deep, personal architecture. You are designing a habitat, not just for the plants, but for your own peace. It's the surrender to slow growth, the pleasure of a new unfurling leaf against a plaster wall, the soft shadows cast by a monstera at golden hour. Your home becomes a responsive, evolving canvas. So, look around your apartment tonight. Find that patch of light, that empty vertical space, that lonely corner asking for a green sculpture. Design it with intention, let it breathe, and watch how your space transforms from a unit into a sanctuary. If you've found your own elegant way to weave green into a small space, I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Until next time, keep growing beautifully